If you want to become a real estate investor, but you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, we show you how to get started with the strategy of wholesaling, where you can make $12,000 start to finish in this episode. My name is David Lecko. I created the software DealMachine that's a marketing tool for house flippers. It's helped people close 10,000 deals in all 50 states.
And I'm Ryan Haywood. Since 2019, I've been wholesaling real estate and building a portfolio. And this is the first time I've ever seen this scenario happen.
Right. A few things I really liked about this is you had the ability to make $12,000. You opted for a creative strategy to build your rental portfolio, but you still showed exactly how you could have made that 12 grand like you've done 400 other times.
So last week we had a wholesale deal that we got under contract. I went and looked at the property, and when I got to the property, the seller was with me. And so we walked the property together, and I made her an offer. And I was trying to use the DealMachine app to give me like where my offer price would be, what the repairs would be, what the ARV would be. And my goal was like, I'm only going to use DealMachine's numbers to come up with this offer. And so we were working through all of that. I used the ARV that was there. I used the repair estimate that was there, but it wasn't, the repair part was like not quite there because of the extent of, but like that's the whole point in walking a property, is you actually get to see how much work it needs. So we get through it, and we walk outside, and I think my initial offer was at 43, which would have been exactly where DealMachine was kind of leading me to offer. So I offered her 43. Come to find out, another wholesaler in St. Joe was supposed to meet her later that day. So I just told her, I said, look, is there a number that would get you to say yes right now? That way you don't have to worry about meeting a bunch of other people. And she just said, if you could come to 50, I would do it. And I'm always reluctant to like go straight to like even asking, hey, is there a number that you had in mind, going straight from my offer to what they were wanting. I already knew I had room to come up. So I just said, look, I can't do 50, but I could come down, or I could come up to like 48 if that would work for you. And she's like, I would take 48, but I still want to have this other guy come and walk through. I'll call you tomorrow. So I was like, okay, well, that's as far as I'm going to take it. So the next day she calls me back and she says, I'll take your offer at 48. I wish I could have found out what the other wholesaler offered her, but I knew that my numbers were going to work the way it was. So that was totally fine. So fast forward, we get the deal signed. We give it to our marketing team. We send it out to our buyers list. And I get a call from one of my private money lenders. And he's like, hey, I'm interested in the deal that you just sent out. And I'm like, okay. And normally he's not like that interested in deals. He's more interested in just lending me to do deals. So I was like, okay. He's like, but I want to do it creatively. I'm like, well, what do you have in mind? He said, I have another property that I will trade you for this house. And I was like, trade? This sounds interesting. So I sent that house out for 60. And the first house, I sent it out for 60. I got it under contract for 48. So we were looking to make a $12,000 assignment. So he says, I've got a house that's already done. It's already rented. If you will sell this house to me for 50, I will give you this house for 50. I was like, dang, this sounds cool. So I just scheduled time to go and walk through this house that he is offering me. I walk through it. It literally is done. And the tenant has been there for 8 years. The tenant didn't want to move. They're bringing $900 a month in rent. And so I call him back. I'm like, hey, let's do this deal. What does this look like for you? For me to get that house for 50 is a steal of a deal, but I'm only going to make a $2,000 assignment on this other house, which is still, I'm okay with. I'm getting a house and $2,000 assignment fee. I'm pretty happy with this. So he comes back and he's like, I'll own or finance you for 3 years. at 50,000 and I'll take this other house for 50,000. So for the first time in 5 years of my wholesaling career, I got a house and $2,000 assignment fee.
Why did he do that?
I really don't know. I don't know if I know why he wanted the first house is because it's on a prime street that's a one-way street that gets a ton of traffic, and he is very much of the mindset that he wants the high trafficked areas to look really nice in St. Joe. The house that we traded, it's not a high trafficked area, but it's really close to a high school. It's a beautiful house. Like I still I still feel like I'm the one that came out on top on this deal. I don't quite see the advantage for him other than picking up a house that's probably worth ARV is probably worth more than what I got out of the deal. But I have a rental property that I put no money down for, is already done. It's already finished. It's already fixed up. It's as is worth probably 145, and I got it for 50 for 3 years and an extra $2,000 assignment. So I don't know why he would do it.
I have a few hypotheses. So he's a private money lender,
Mhm.
and maybe he's dipped his hands into a few things that seemed exciting and semi-related to his main business, but he realized that house isn't really that sexy for him anymore because he can't make a lot of money on it. He's just making 400 a month, and if he's got some tenant, requests, he's going to spend that 400 a month on that.
Mhm.
So maybe he just really thought he could make a lot of money from your deal, and he'd prefer to do that and just get rid of this thing to simplify his business so he doesn't have to manage this house anymore. He can focus on private money and flipping that one house.
Yeah. I think it's probably on par. I know that he doesn't have a portfolio of properties. I think he has like maybe 10 where we're inching close. I'm one away from having 60 doors. So the my ability to manage maintenance requests is probably a lot more than his. And so I think either that or I mean there's also the possibility that he wants to put the money that he's been using to lend, he wants to secure that but he's still making money. So he secured it by buying a property, but also he's still lending and making interest from me on this other house.
Right.
So, but like I've never seen anybody do a deal like that. I've never come across a deal like that, and I was thrilled to death because I got another rental property that's going to be cash flowing and is worth far more than what I paid for it. So,
Mm-hmm.
pretty exciting.
Hey guys, if you know you want to quit your job in the next 3 months, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast because we've got some incredible frameworks with step-by-step instruction that you're not going to want to miss. Also, leave us a rating and review to let us know your favorite parts and why you want to get financial freedom.
Yeah. So wholesaling was a great way for you to find really great deals, find properties that cash flow to build your rental portfolio.
Yeah.
So yesterday I was running a dialer challenge. We just launched a dialer. People wanted to know if we could hold them accountable. So we have a 3-week challenge, and they pulled the tax delinquent list in their city, and they're making 30 calls per day. So somebody said, well, what do you do when you find somebody who does want to call? So I said, hey, if I make at least 10 calls, I know somebody's at least going to pick up. And sure enough, on the 10th call, Marion picked up. But then they were like, what do I do if I actually get that deal? So how did you get this deal? They call you back on a mailer?
This was a postcard. Yeah. So,
Okay.
I don't remember how many. Say again.
What did you do once they called back?
From the postcard, I scheduled an appointment right away. And I think she called me, and I just asked her right then and there, can you meet today? And so within an hour of her calling, I was at the property, walking the property.
Then what'd you do then?
Yeah, I mean, the story continued. I walked to the property, I made the offer, and then yeah, we just processed it like it was going to be another wholesale transaction. So
Sure.
got the marketing out, sent the marketing out, and then all of it unfolded just as we've heard.
Did it take you 5 minutes, or did you spend 30 minutes walking the property?
Walking the property was probably 30 minutes. Took photos
What
of
all do you want to
everything.
accomplish? Yeah, take photos, but what else are you accomplishing while you're there?
yeah, I'm assessing the condition, trying to figure out, how far the rehab needs to go to get it to its ARV. Um,
Yeah.
I always run numbers while I'm there. Typically, I'm walking, talking to the person,
Right.
um, trying to
So
get,
let me ask you
as
this.
much data as I
What
can.
percentage what percentage of your effort do you spend on the condition of the house versus building rapport with the owner?
It's 50-50 for me, really. I
Mm.
do put a lot of stock in having good conversation, building rapport with the owner. The fact that she called me back instead of the other wholesaler, kind of bolsters my confidence, and I did create a good relationship when I was there with her. So,
Yeah.
but like having conversation, the good thing too is I've grown up in the community that I wholesale in. And so I always like go for the how long have you been here? Did you grow up here? I knew her family's name. So making connections, that was the first thing that we talked about when I walked in. I didn't go for, oh, this house looks really rough. I'm going to need to, I just went to asking, is your brother or this guy, is this person? I've done work with this person. Like making those personal connections has always been important to me. Like I want people to know that first off I care about their story, but I'm aware enough that I'm not just coming in and making a blind offer. I'm invested into the community. That's something that works for us. Not everybody really cares about that side. It's more getting the deal done. But as I've done that and I'm having conversation with her, I'm walking the house taking pictures all at the same time. Um, and then at the end of the walkthrough is when I'm, kind of punching my numbers. I can tell after I've walked it, I'm going to spend about 45 a square foot. So I'm running my numbers based off that. I know our area really well, so I can tell you ARV easily. So from that point, it's like I can run my numbers and have an offer pretty much on the spot. But I always I've used a tactic that I've learned in this whole process of doing wholesale. So I have my numbers, I'll run my numbers, but I always shave off an extra 20 or 30% from where I'm at. I always feel like I have to be uncomfortable making an offer for it to be a good offer and a good deal when I'm done. So if my numbers, I'm like, well, that seems like a reasonable offer. I'm going to lower it to the point where that seems right on the verge of unreasonable. Um, because I do feel like the best deals come from a place of discomfort when you're making an offer. So
Got it.
even when I'm doing that, I came up with my number. I knew I had room when she said she needed 50. I knew I had room in that because I had already put myself in a position of like, I don't need this. It kind of sucks to even tell you I'm going to come in at 43. Like, fully expecting her to be like, no way. But then when she's like, well, if I could get 50, I would be pretty happy.
Hmm.
I
I bet
knew
that
then.
their wholesaler may not have even showed up.
No, I know they did.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
How do you know?
we've done a lot of JV deals with that other wholesaler. And so even when she mentioned, like I asked, I'm like, who's coming to look at the house? And she told me his name. I'm like, oh yeah, I know the guy. I've done deals with him. But he didn't live in St. Joe. He's an out of state investor or out of state wholesaler, but he's brought a lot of deals to us. So we were fortunate to know him. I didn't say anything about anything from that point on. I just let her run the process with him. I was kind of curious where his numbers would have come in. But at the end of the day, I think that me building the rapport and being able to be there on the spot is what solidified the deal.
Yeah. So in conclusion, there's three things I really like that you did there. One, I love that you actually, when the person on the phone said, yeah, I want to sell my house, you set an appointment to go meet in person and you did it the same day without procrastinating. Two, you spent at least 50% of the time building rapport. And then three, you followed up, or did she call you back saying, hey,
Yeah,
I want
she
to do the
called me
deal?
the next day.
Oh, okay. Well, I like that she called you, but I can't give you credit for that. So I'll just
No.
say two things I really liked on that. And congratulations on your new rental property.
Yeah.
So Ryan, you've got a few students now. How many students do you have that are learning how to wholesale?
We are up to 5 active students in DealFlow Academy.
Okay. What type of experience are they coming to you with?
All of them they all have different walks. A couple of them are wholesalers. A couple of them are rental, like they're building the rental portfolio. And in the last, we've been at it now for 2 months. One student has got 3 properties under contract, and that's for wholesaling. So the results, and that has literally just been like it's almost like having an accountability partner. Here's what you have to do, and then following up with that every single week. Like, how many deals did you add driving for dollars? How many postcards did you get sent out? And then getting the feedback, because knowing that not every market's the exact same, adjusting your marketing strategy to fit what works in your community is something too that we've had a lot of fun doing. Sometimes, like for me, postcards work really well, but for other people, postcards with texting works really well. So being able to tweak it to work what works best for you.
So if you're listening and you want to make more money, keep in mind that the people closest to you, they want to help you avoid pain, right? So they may not support you or understand your goals of getting into real estate investing. You should listen to their advice only if they've achieved what you want to achieve. If they have, great advice. But if not, I wanted you guys to know Ryan does have a coaching program, and you can listen to somebody like him who has achieved what you're wanting to achieve. And the website is dealflowacademy.com. So thanks, Ryan, for sharing that story. And hopefully you get a few more people interested that you can help out as well, because I know you're a great teacher.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.